Welcome to Into the Heart. Today we're going to be talking about how to foster self-esteem rather than perfectionism and people pleasing and other external ways that people seek acceptance. So let's get started. What is self-esteem? I'm going to define it as this internalized sense of value and worth, feeling loved and cared for, having this internal sense of belonging and that I'm wanted, I'm significant, I'm acceptable, I'm known, and I'm loved. That's what I would call self esteem. And by contrast, things like perfectionism or people pleasing or like really excessive performance orientation, it seems to me that most of the time that's not because people have just extraordinary ideals or high expectations, but rather it's rooted in a sense of insecurity or shame or rejection or self-rejection or fear of rejection or poor self poor self-esteem, this lack of internalized sense of worth, right? And so more broadly, we can call this in attachment theory, we call this depersonalized attachment. So being putting a lot of effort into looking attractive to get attention or like winning approval. So it's by my performance, not by my being that I get approval. Okay, so in order to measure up, I gotta work hard, so I'm good enough, so I'm valued, right? Or I gotta be extremely demanding of myself, so I'm actually special to somebody. I gotta impress so that I'm esteemed, or I gotta seek status and like achievements so I could feel recognized. I gotta be super helpful so that I'm important. This need to be needed. That's a flag for something here. Or being super nice. I'm a human pretzel. I just bend over backwards for everybody so that I'm liked by everyone. Or I'm super charming so that I'm loved by everyone. These are all depersonalized attachment. They're all ways of pursuing proximity and attachment. But and they're all ways that have a sense of safety because we can control this to some degree. I can control how I look or how well I perform. And the problem is they will never be satisfying because no matter how well performing I am, no matter how well revered or internationally highly regarded I am, if it's all about my performance, it's not me. I never get to personally experience being accepted or loved or appreciated. And so we can burn ourselves out, but never be satisfied. And in fact, because it's both rooted in the assumption that I'm not lovable. And the terrible thing about it is the more we perform, we might actually feel more lonely and more unlovable because we press deeper into the reality that it's all a facade, it's all a fake. It's not really me that's being accepted or loved. It's my performance. So it's safe because if someone criticizes my performance or rejects it or whatever, well, it's less personal because it's just my facade, it's my performance, it's all these externals. But it can be deeply lonely because it's never me that's loved. So we want to be really careful. How do we avoid this with our kids so that they can pursue life out of this internalized sense of lovability and acceptance that brings that freedom to just sink their teeth into life and go for it, and they can fall and get back up and it's no big deal because at the end of the day they're loved. How do we foster that rather than pursuing life out of this shame, self-rejection, and so forth? We want to be careful about over praising externals or performance, behavior, or appearance, because what we praise, our kids will attach value to. And so we want to, by contrast, script behavior that is a reflection of their character. So we're giving them shoes to grow into that primarily is focused on who they are and the good things we see in them and who they are, that we really know them and we see all of these good qualities. And so, when Billy does such and such, we can say, wow, Billy, I know you. And I know how caring of a heart you have. And you remember when your friend fell and how fast you run, your feet couldn't keep up with your heart because you care so much about him. I know how much you care. And this thing that just happened, that doesn't match, does it? So we draw forth, we call forth who they are, we call forth their character, we give them an identity to grow into, rather than over emphasizing the behavior, the performance, or manipulating them into behaving. And what am I talking about there? Because sometimes, and it's been popular since the early 80s, using tactics of separation anxiety to get a desired behavior performance, right? So, like threatening abandonment, or just in a smaller version, 1, 2, 3 magic, which creates separation anxiety, because if someone feels like they're in trouble, that's creating a sense of relational threat. The relationship's in danger if I'm in trouble, or if mom and dad is getting mad, or I'm told that I'm not allowed to exist here unless I behave a certain way. My existence is not welcome. So go sit over there, Billy, until you're ready to behave like a person. Until then, you are not acceptable. We want to be really careful about punishments or interventions that give this kind of message, because it says behavior matters more than they do. I'm wondering for you if that makes sense. Now, furthermore, how do we build attachment and self esteem and this internalized sense of I'm lovable and I have a worth that just has to do with me? It's not just in our words, it's in our interactions with our kids, and it's over and over again, and especially when we can have interactions that don't have a preceding cause. So it's not hinging upon, there's no strings attached. It's not about a particular performance, whether a good performance or a bad performance of behavior or whatever, but it's just spontaneous. When you communicate to them, whether with words or actions, saying, you're irreplaceable. You have such a big place in my heart. I'm so glad you're here. So we speak their significance. Or communicating like, I'm so proud of who you are. I know you and I've watched you grow over these years, and I'm just proud of you. Or I'm so proud to be your dad. And I know sometimes you have a bad day, but I love you. I'm just proud of you. I want you to know that. Because we know who our kids are. And if we know them and love them, that is a powerful message. That's the freedom and the invitation to be and become themselves. Or when we communicate, despite the struggles, I'm always here for you. Even though you have a hard time sometimes, you're always welcome. I'm always here. That loyalty, that sense that they have a place to belong, and it's in your heart. They belong here. They're welcome here. They're wanted here. But when we give that message of, I just love spending time with you. It's just so good. Like just sitting here in the canoe, casting the fishing rod. Like I just love being with you. I'm so glad to be here with you. So like inviting that their presence, and delighting in their being. Because all these kinds of interactions, all these kinds of things, especially when there's no strings attached to any particular behavior or achievement or misbehavior or whatever, but it's just spontaneous. It says, you and our relationship matter to me. more than anything you could ever do. And that's so powerful. It gives them that permission and that invitation to be themselves and to become themselves in your presence. And they're going to stumble along the way, and that's okay because you're there right by their side. I would wager this is a major ingredient in fostering that self esteem, that internalized sense of being loved and accepted. I hope this was helpful for you today. And if there was something that was inspirational or helpful, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. That helps get these videos out to more people, hopefully to help them as well. If you have any questions or comments or you want to reach out, please drop a comment down below. Look forward to seeing you in the future.